Hi everybody, this is the last little mini lecture for Module 1. I'm talking about the very last items that you have on your Need to Know sheet for which you'll find in resources for Module 1. This is a very interesting topic also. It has to do with two American researchers, anthropologists and early linguists, Edward Sap-Whrf and Benjamin Whorf. I believe they both worked out of Berkeley. So Sap-Whrf and Whorf worked with a whole bunch of Native American languages. They studied those languages and they found out features in those languages that are very different from the European languages that Sap-Whrf and Whorf knew up until then. That led them to wonder whether your native language influences your thought pattern, the way you view yourself in this world and in moving through time and space. Is that affected by your native language? And so they came up with this hypothesis of the interplay between thought and language. There are two versions of the Sap-Whrf hypotheses. One version is called the strong version, and that means that your native language once and for all determines how you view the world. Like, your native language is a box and you can only think within that box. You cannot think outside of the box. So once and for all, your native language boxes you into a certain thought pattern. Then there's the weak version of the Sap-Whrf hypothesis, and it says up to a point, your native language influences how you view yourself in the world and how you think of things. But you can learn how to think of it differently. You can step outside of that box. That seems to be the correct version. We now know that the strong version called linguistic determinism is not correct. But it was an interesting thought. I want to show you how they came even across thinking that. So they studied some Native American languages and found that some of those languages did not have the typical European language pattern of thinking of a past tense, a present tense, and a future tense. That they had a more cyclical way of thinking of time, kind of like in our saying what goes around comes around, like karma, or also thinking maybe of the seasons, where we think in a more cyclical fashion. So that some Native American languages work that way, where you don't really have a timeline. So Europeans in our languages, English, Spanish, and so on, we have a past tense, present tense, and a future tense. And we conceptualize that as if we were traveling head on into the future. We even have such, so as if we were traveling through time and space on a line that heads straight into the future. So we even have expressions saying like that lies behind us, or I'm looking ahead, I'm looking forward to that, as if timeline were just like that. And so that's what made Sap-Whrf think about how our thinking is influenced by our language. There is a very easy experiment that people can run anytime. You may know that a bunch of European languages, other languages as well, have grammatical gender. That means that the table, English is not one of those languages. English doesn't deal with that kind of stuff. So in English, it's the table, the chair, the window, and so on. And it's just nouns. In Spanish and in German and in French and in Italian and in Swedish and in Russian, all the nouns have a grammatical gender. You know that in Spanish there are words that go with el something and with la something, right? So they're either masculine or feminine. In German, the same. So I want to give you this example. You could ask a whole bunch of native speakers of German to describe what a bridge looks like. A bridge in German is die Brücke, and it happens to be feminine. So Germans will tell you, oh, a bridge is a beautiful, elegant structure. It gracefully spans from one bank of the river to the next and makes the landscape so much more beautiful. And after a while, you feel a heavy-duty, stereotypical feminine thinking in that. A bridge is a bridge. It's neither masculine nor feminine. That's absurd. But if you come from one of those languages, you're influenced a little bit by that. Spanish speakers don't see the bridge like that at all, because in Spanish it's el puente. I know I don't pronounce this right. So, but it's masculine. So a bridge is kind of conceptualized by Spanish speakers as a masculine thing. So you ask a bunch of Spanish native speakers, describe a bridge. And after a while you get certain patterns like it's a sturdy, robust, firm, strong, dominating feature in the landscape. Stereotypical masculine qualities. So up to a point, here's the thing. Of course, we can all step back. German and Spanish speakers and everybody and say, well, yeah, actually a bridge is a bridge is a bridge. It's neither masculine or feminine. So linguistic relativism means that relatively, think of it like that, a little bit, your native language influences how you view yourself, how you view the world. But it's not a box that you cannot escape. But language and thought are intertwined at one level.